Hello and welcome back to another episode of Maghann Unfiltered. Today I will be interviewing my friend Laura. Laura, I found on Instagram, and she is in the low carb space. She is a carnivore. And I just love the fact that she was a vegan prior to becoming a carnivore. And I feel like, so many of us in the low carb, ketogenic, carnivore space, there's a reason behind why we went down that path. And I would just love to interview Laura and, learn a little bit about her story, why she went vegan, and then kind of what was the wake up call to maybe switch things up a little bit. So, first of all, before we get into the show, thank you so much, Laura, for coming on here.
It's my pleasure, and I'm so grateful to be here and hopefully share my story and inspire somebody. And I know that these things, they always reach who they need to reach. And at the right time, the right moment, the right place. So happy to be here.
Lovely. Okay, so let's get into the vegan side of things. Like, I would love to know why you decided to go down the vegan path and like how long you were doing vegan for and what was the shift or the wake up call that you realized this may not be what I actually need.
Sure. So everything has started years back. So I was not eating meat in total for 13 years. So I'm 2 years carnivore now. So it started like 16 years back, more or less. My uncle got sick and eventually he died. And then I started looking why healthy people suddenly, people who are in shape, who take care of their health, do exercises, live normal life, and suddenly they get sick and die at the age of 44. And that brought me to the China study book, of course, that we know how misleading that book is. And because I was myself on the healing journey, I was deeply depressed since I was a teenager. I had eating disorders. I had very bad body image and so much more going on in my life. So I was very vulnerable in that time. And because I was looking at that spirituality and that death in the family kind of puts two together. And I said, oh, I need to be vegan. So I can clear my spirits. And if you eat vegetables and fruits, you shouldn't die from things like cancer. And so that's how the story started. I was vegan for around 5 years, where 8 months I did raw vegan. So I ate mostly fruits, a little bit of vegetables. And at the point that I stopped sleeping, I couldn't fall asleep. And I realized that probably that is not, something is not right. And now I understand that I was consuming extremely high amounts of sugars.
Mm.
So probably, I don't know, nobody was measuring sugar or ketones at that time, 16 years back, but now I understand that probably the high levels of sugar created also high cortisol, so that's why I stopped sleeping. And of course, my depression went even worse. My eating disorders became worse. I was constantly exhausted. I was feeling ashamed of my body. I was having brain fog, massive brain fog. Um, I was suffering from horrible digestion issues. Like I was always bloated, I had cramps in my stomach, I was having acid reflux, and that lasted for years and years and years. And eventually, because I was living in Italy at the time, and being vegan wasn't that easy. Because if you want to go to eat out, if you're a vegetarian, you can find things in the restaurants that you can eat. But if you're a vegan, there were like a couple of places, vegan restaurants at that time, but having a social life became almost impossible. So, and naturally, I started craving so much for cheese, for eggs, for fish, seafood. But slowly, I started reintroducing those foods into my diet. And that's how I became first vegetarian, then pescatarian, and then ketovore, and eventually carnivore. So I didn't go from vegan to carnivore like a lot of people. They think, oh, suddenly 13 years I was vegan and then I went carnivore. No, it has been a long transition. It has been a long way of healing and discovering and not feeling well as well. So initially, when I started being vegan, I felt well for the first few months. But I guess almost all vegans, when they start, they feel quite good the first months, right? Because I never ate really a lot of ultra processed foods. Like in my house, there was no sodas really. There was no McDonald's. We as a family, we never used to do that. So I ate whole foods. I cooked myself. I cooked at home. So um, also, I haven't been using seed oils for many years already. So even before becoming carnivore, I knew that seed oils, they are not good. So as a family, we stopped using them a long time ago. But of course, when you go to the restaurant, everything was cooked in seed oils.
Yeah.
So put all together, I wasn't feeling great mentally and physically. And the worst was because I was hungry 24 hours a day. I was having massive cravings 24 hours a day. And yeah, I will go the time where I will be eating extremely well.
Mm.
And then suddenly I will arrive to that point that I will binge anything. And then I will start from the beginning
You
the
you
next week.
you mentioned like you struggled with disordered eating, and I have a history with disordered eating. If you don't mind me asking, like when you say disordered eating, like what was your, I mean, it sounds like obviously some binging was happening, but like did you starve yourself? Were you bulimic, anorexic? Were you a little bit of everything? Like what did that look like?
So mostly I was bulimic, but of course one travels next to, like they all travel next to each other. So you
Right.
alternate the times where you undereat massively and then you overeat massively and then you feel guilty and all the rest comes along.
Yeah.
So mostly, yes, it was. I was never underweight. I was always normal at the
Yeah.
end of the
Me
day. I was
too.
never obese or overweight. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
have had times of my life like few less kilos, but like I was never extremely big or extremely small.
Did you, and that's a great point because I will say, you know, eating disorders come in all different shapes and sizes. So, like, when somebody struggles with anorexia or bulimia, like for me, I'm with you. Like, bulimia was more, I was more on the bulimic side, but then there was times of like severe restriction, right? Which is kind of a form of purging, really, right? Because, oh, I got to starve myself to undo all of the damage of the binging, right? Like that sick cycle.
Exactly.
But it comes in all different shapes and sizes, like, you would look at me or maybe somebody looks at you or would have looked at you and it's like, well, they look healthy, they're not overweight or, chronically skinny like an anorexic, but, like,
Mm.
we're I know for me, like, I was slowly dying inside. I don't know if that's how you felt, like, my mental health was terrible too.
Exactly. I was not only dying inside, but also I was constantly very, very pale. I
Mm,
remember my mom, she would meet me because we lived in different countries, and she would, oh my God, you are so pale all the time. Like I didn't have any color. And also the eyes, my eyes were, the eyes naturally have that sparkle. They should have the sparkle. And I
yeah.
noticed that from the pictures that like in the beginning of my carnivore, when I started posting on my Instagram account. And then suddenly, few months down the road, how the sparkle of my eyes has changed,
Life came
how the
back.
life came back. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you were like transitioning off of, veganism and you're like reintroducing certain things, I know for me personally, with my history of disordered eating, there has been times in my healing journey of reintroducing things can feel a little scary and overwhelming. Did you ever feel that way when you were like, "Okay, I'm done with veganism," but then you were, like, starting to bring stuff in at all? Like, did you have any fears around certain foods?
It was fair not towards certain foods. It's more was about food in general.
Yeah.
So every time, it doesn't matter if it was a leaf of salad, or if it was a piece of fish or a piece of cheese, or I don't know, an apple, I was feeling always guilty by eating it, to the
Mm,
point where I tend to hide myself and not eat in front of anyone,
yeah.
because that was really a struggle. Like, I was in my head, I was saying, okay, everybody can see that I'm fat and I'm still eating. I shouldn't
Mhm.
be doing this.
Yeah.
Although the logical part of me can understand that my body needs nourishment, I still need to eat. I can't
Mm,
be without food, right?
right.
But that ill mindset was telling, no, you can't eat. Even an apple is bad for you.
Mhm.
And of course, when I deprive myself from nutrients like animal-based nutrients,
Yeah.
that went down the hill even more. And I was
Yeah.
still doing the same, eating and overeating, even with vegan foods.
Yeah. How did you overcome all of, like, those challenging thoughts and disordered behaviors with food? Would you say that carnivore healed you? Because I look, and I'm asking you this because I look at, low carb, ketogenic, carnivore as just one of the many tools to help us overcome these challenges. I
Yeah.
don't think it's necessarily the be all. Like, I think there's a lot of internal work that needs to be done for a lot of the shifting to take place. Like, what was it what worked for you? Was it just carnivore, or were you doing like were you getting coaching? Were you getting therapy? Were you just doing inside work on your own? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, of course. And I totally agree with you. It's just one of the tools.
Mm,
I believe that we do have different bodies. We do have mind body, we have spirit body, we have physical body, we have emotional body. And food is only the physical part of the body.
mm,
So my lowest point was around 11 years back, where I needed to move out. 10 years back, needed to move out from Italy, come back home, and I went into the private clinic for eating disorders. It's a mental clinic where I reached the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. My parents needed to come and collect me from Italy and bring me back home. And that's healing lasted a few months. I wouldn't say it worked. It worked in a way, but it made me very, very angry to my family, to other situations. But it gave me also a point of reset.
mm,
So I had an option to look through the different lenses and studying something else. Of course, through all my life, there was therapy, there was different sort of things that, because I knew that I need to help myself somehow.
right.
Otherwise, I will be not alive,
Yeah.
especially
You knew
because
you were unwell.
I knew that I wasn't well.
Yeah.
And because all my life I suffered from suicidal depression, most of my days were just to survive today. That's
Yeah.
how I lived most of my life,
Yeah.
right? And there were, I always was a quite spiritual person, and I always believed in alternative healing. I believed in meditations, I believed in mindset trainings, and I was always doing this. But because I was so low in energy and so low in vibration, that was just keeping just there. So I will not surrender
Yeah.
until I started carnivore.
Okay.
And then I started carnivore, like I can even look my skin.
Uh,
um, then I started carnivore. It didn't happen instantly. It didn't happen after a week, after two, because the first 2, 3 weeks were so traumatic and so dramatic. Like I was feeling so bad when I started. But then something shifted, and every day I started feeling better and better and better. Where maybe 3, 4 months down the road, I realized that, oh, I get up in the morning and I'm not planning to kill myself today. So something has dramatically shifted. And yes, although I would say that I was in recovery from my eating disorders for the last 10 years, physically, right?
mm,
But mentally, I needed to control myself every single day, not
yeah.
to do certain things, not to behave in certain things. I was still constantly thinking about food 24 hours a day. I was still massively craving, so I couldn't have anything around me or in the house. I couldn't buy anything. If I would buy a package of biscuits, I will eat them all.
Do you think food addiction was played a part at all too?
Oh yeah, yeah, massively.
Yeah.
Everything that was sweets
Hmm.
played a massive uh, part in it. And it's not that I was eating it every day, no. But then maybe 6 days in a week, I would eat
Yeah.
clean and well, clean because it was still food that wasn't nourishing me.
Yeah.
And then the seventh day, I will fall down the trap.
Yeah, me too. That was exactly me. And I just want to, you know, say something to what you had just said about like the vibration thing. Like you knew you were unwell and when you're not doing well, you aren't gonna, have this light. And I can relate with that so deeply. And it kind of makes me want to cry a little bit because I remember being so sick and knowing like you were really unwell right now. And and I'm sure you can relate, especially just with our conversation that we had before we started recording, but like I knew I had so much to give the world. Like I knew I had light inside of me, but I felt trapped. And I felt like Maghann wanted to like take on the world, but my disordered eating was like this massive mountain and like trap. And like I kept running and I couldn't get through it. And it was what was keeping me so stuck from just taking on the world. And then once, obviously, and I'm sure the same for you, it's like once you started to actually fully heal and start to recover, like your whole world starts to open up.
Yeah, exactly that. Because then it's like I'm feeling like a human being for the first time in my life. I never knew what does it mean, not thinking about food 24 hours a day,
Mm,
or not having that suicidal thoughts 24 hours a day. And
yeah.
yes, carnivore came probably at the right. And my sister, she's a nutritionist, right? So she was convincing me for the 2 years prior I started, you need to try it, you need to try it, you need to try it, because she herself has patients who
Mm,
had good results on carnivore. Of course, none of her patients were that long like me,
yeah.
because it has been more than 2 years now, but it has completely transformed my life. Now, I'm not saying carnivore will work for everyone, maybe
Mhm.
not. I think that massive influence is made also from your spiritual world and from your inside, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, and how you deal with that. Because food is always related with feelings, emotions, and mostly love. So
Mm,
I believe that food and extra weight and all that struggle that has to do with food is somehow putting a shield on yourself and being deprived from love to yourself and maybe, I don't know, even those around you. And that's how you create it. So it's not
yeah.
somebody else. It's not that we are victims, or, yeah, I understand that some people, they had traumatic childhood, for example. I
Yeah.
didn't have. So I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
I since today I can't put the points together. Where did it start? But I believe that we have also previous lives and some trauma we can bring from previous lives as well to this life and get that emotion, those energies, those trauma stuck in our cells. And
Yeah.
until we do something deeper with that to release that trauma. And I did a lot of therapy, talking therapy, and I don't think it works because more you talk about that, more is stuck in your head and it keeps repeating, repeating, repeating. I think that
Yeah.
you need, first of all, a proper nutrition where your brain kind of lets up and
Yeah.
you have strength to do everything else. So
Yeah.
that's what happened with Carnivore. So Carnivore gave me a possibility to start thinking clearly.
Yeah, 100%. And I love how you talked about like the constantly talking about it, right? Like I'm this, I'm that. And I know like when I work with my coaching clients, I always say we've got to rewrite the story. We have to rewrite the narrative. Just because Laura did this in the past or Megan did this in the past doesn't mean we have to do this anymore, right? Like I'm
Exactly.
really big on just envisioning like what is the life that you want? What do you want to create? What do you want your future to look like? Because I'm very big on what you think and say about yourself is what you will become. And so if we're constantly staying stuck in a sick place, like I'm always going to be addicted to food, I'm always going to have disordered eating, I'm never going to be able to overcome this and kind of stay in that victimhood mentality. That's where you are going to stay. But if you close your eyes at night and you are like, you know what, I want more for myself and I want my life to look like whatever you want it to, and you really hold on to that and you start living your life differently and start doing things differently,
Exactly.
that's where the change happens.
Yeah, because our thoughts create our reality. And yes, sometimes it's extremely hard to get out of those thoughts. And I know because I lived like that almost for 40 years, right? But you just keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And like you said, that you knew that you're meant to do something bigger, something more. So I knew that since I was a teenager as well, and that kept me looking. So
Yeah.
the main thing is to keep staying curious and keep looking and
Yeah.
keep looking what works for you, because what works for me not necessarily what works for you or for somebody else.
Yeah.
But unless you try something, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know how a diet can change your life, how meditation can change your life, how something like breath work can change your life. And I truly believe now that we create our life, and
Yeah.
what we have in our head, what thoughts we constantly bring out, that will be resonating in your physical life as well.
Yeah, 100%. So to finish things up here, I do want to ask you, so are you strict carnivore? Like, do you ever allow yourself, like, do you do spices? Do you drink coffee? Do you ever do berries or like, or are you just like strict meat only? And the only reason why I'm asking you this is just because I am genuinely curious. I think carnivore, the space has become very dogmatic. And I don't care what anybody's eating, or all I care about is that you're doing what works best for you, you know?
Exactly.
But I'm curious, is like, what do you do? What's your because so many people have their different versions of carnivore too, you
Of
know?
course. Yeah. So I was always having coffee.
Yeah.
And for 2 years, I was very, very, very strict carnivore. So only animal-based product plus coffee. Now, this summer, what happened? An interesting thing happened. I went to my stepdad's and he had those beautiful raspberries in his garden. And I said, okay, now I have been carnivore for 2 years. I can make a trial. What will happen if I have few of them? Because I
Yeah.
always plan to, a lot of people, they were saying to me, oh, but you vegetables are not bad for you, or fruits are not bad for you, or berries are not bad for you. And I said, maybe it's time to try something and see how do I react. So I
Yeah.
consciously did, and I ate like a handful of those homegrown raspberries, nothing sprayed on them, from my stepdad's garden. And interesting things happened. So I started craving more sweets.
Mm.
I started craving more berries. And at that point, where I was constantly thinking about them, I said, okay, let me do a trial and let me try. So I tried white cabbage, cucumber, avocado, blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries. First of all, even after those my raspberries, my stomach was upside down and I got acid reflux. But I understand, I haven't had anything for 2 years, right? It's
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's understandable, right?
Yeah.
My system
Absolutely.
needs to get ready.
Yeah.
So then I introduced those 6 things and I started eating them not daily, but like every 2 days, every 3 days, one day one thing, another day another thing. Cravings came back.
Hmm.
Um, I started craving for sweet things.
Hmm.
I started being bloated every time I would eat them. So by now, because it has been few weeks,
You should
my
have adjusted.
body should have been used to it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's not the first time. I started suffering from acid reflux. I started having like some rashes on my body as well. I started looking to myself less confident
Mm.
and more body conscious.
Yeah.
A part of course, like suffering from all the physical symptoms. So
Yeah.
I don't think, like now I have a proof that I don't think that vegetables, even low oxalate vegetables, because cabbage, cucumber, and avocados, they are low part, and also berries, they are not the highest in sugar, neither.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't think they work for me.
I love everything you said, and I'm smiling here, shaking my head because it resonates with me. You're so right. And this is once again for everyone who is listening. Nutrition and diet is so individualized with everybody. Just because something may work for you or just because something's healthy, well, it may not be healthy or right for you. And so I actually introduced watermelon for the first time this year, the first time in 6 years. So the longest I've ever been strict carnivore is 7 months. I've always, over the last 6 years of my food sobriety journey and, disordered eating recovery, I've kind of gone back and forth with low carb, keto, carnivore. But I will say this, when I am strict dairy-free carnivore, I do better without dairy. Once again, individuality. I don't do awesome with dairy. And I tend to eat more of it. It's easy to just overeat.
Yeah.
Um, but I find myself the most peaceful when I'm strict dairy-free carnivore. I think the beauty, like my year one in, food addiction recovery is very different from my year 6, but there is something to be said about carnivore because it's simple and it just silences out all of the food noise. And I know, like for me, when I am more like ketovore and I bring some stuff in here and there, it almost becomes too noisy because like you said, like, I'm not like I'm going on these crazy binges by any means, because I'm not, but it just brings up more food noise that I just don't want to deal with, that I don't have when I'm strict carnivore.
Yeah, exactly. And for example, symptoms like body itchiness or mood. I was keto before I started carnivore. And although sometimes they didn't disappear. So I can definitely say that I have tried it all, because I went from vegan to carnivore with everything in between, right? And the only thing that worked was carnivore, because I didn't have only my depression and my eating disorders disappearing. I had so much more. Like, my digestion now is perfect. I sleep perfectly. My body itching has disappeared. Bleeding gums disappeared. Eczema disappeared. Migraines disappeared. Like, chronic fatigue disappeared. Like,
Yeah.
so much more. Like, I didn't gain only one thing. And I started for completely different reason, because I discovered that I have SIBO, and my sister said, or you go on the antibiotics that most likely are not going to help you, or
Yeah.
you go 30 days on carnivore diet and those natural supplements that I'm going to give you. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, I will try natural supplements in the carnivore. And within those 30 days, I said, I will do 100 days. And within those 100 days, I knew this is going to be my lifestyle,
Mm.
because, like, I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that somebody who was carnivore and then start to introduce some vegetables and some fruits is not working for them. Probably
Right.
it does.
Yeah.
For me, it's not, because symptoms slowly started coming back. The mood was lower. So
Yeah.
that is the indication that something is not right. And I was, the portions were little. It's not that I was having
Binging.
like
Yeah.
who knows how much of those
Right.
6 ingredients.
Yeah.
And like I said, food is only the part of it. I
Mm.
believe that our vibration, like, look to those people who are eating extremely healthy and still die from cancer. Why? Because we never know what is happening inside of them. How
Mm.
high is their vibration? How much stress they are living? How happy they are? How excited they are about, everything. You can
Yeah.
eat the best diet ever and still be miserable.
Yep. Yep.
That's why I'm a big believer that you need to put the diet with the everything else that you do for your spirit, because the body is only the temple from our soul. So
Yeah.
yes, we need to take care of it, and we need to build it from the best materials we can afford,
Yep.
right? And take care of it and maintain it properly. And even when I eat now, I always, I bless my food, because if you cook it with love and you bless it, it will have higher vibration and higher energy. The same
Mhm.
thing as well after eating. Like, I put my one hand on my heart and one on my belly, and I try to feel how I'm feeling now, because everything is about feelings and
Mhm.
about the vibration and the light that we have inside of us. And somebody who is, let's say, a monk in Tibet, of course they can eat only vegetables and be okay, because they have such a high vibration, and that
Yeah.
kind of compensates. But I think living in the city, where it's full of noise, full of pollution, full of EMF and radiation and everything around, right? We can't eat grass and be healthy.
Yeah.
We need more nutrients to sustain that temple, so that will sustain our soul and will help us to do everything else we need to do, to live our purpose.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much, and I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much, Laura, for coming on and sharing your powerful story. I feel like we covered so many wonderful things in this episode.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and hopefully that will inspire somebody to do something, not necessarily go carnivore, but like, look deeper, experiment, research for yourself, not because somebody said, oh, this is healthy or this is unhealthy. We
Right.
will never figure it out what works or what not if we don't try. And we are so, so different.
Yeah, we really are. Where can people find you on social media?
Instagram, vegan to carnivore. YouTube, the same. I'm posting some recipes, and I started doing some meditations as well. So I recently posted a meditation about who has emotional eating and cravings, not necessarily carnivore, but go and check it out. And TikTok as well, but mostly Instagram where I post the most.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura, and I will
Thank
talk to you
you.
soon. Have an amazing day.
Bye.